Hello, if you would take your seats and whatever, we will get situated and started in about 1 minute. Okay, if you give me your attention, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm Ron Miller. I'm the American Legion Post 225 chaplain here. And we do this as a conjunction between the American Legion and the VFW. Last year was at the VFW. This year it's at the Legion. Next year it's at the VFW. The same thing, 6 o'clock program. Works out very well. We have a combined color guard and combined rifle team. There'll be rifle firing afterwards or near the end of the program here. And so that's a joint VFW and Legion also. So for posting the colors, obviously, I want everybody to go ahead and stand up. And color guard, post colors. Civilians can put your hand over your heart and follow the color guard, and those that are military would salute. Two. And remain standing and join me in our opening prayer. O Lord our God, we give you thanks for this evening and for all that it means this evening. It means that we are honoring veterans, and it also means that we are very grateful that wars have ended. It won't be the first, it won't be the last, but we pray for peace, and we pray that all of our soldiers and the rest of the military that are around in the world, that they will be safe today, and their families will be safe. And we thank you for bringing us together. In your name I pray. Amen. The other thing I want to point out is we have the POW MIA Remembrance Chair and all, as a remembering all of the POWs and MIAs throughout the world and throughout our country's history. And I will also point to, we have a paver that we are dedicating today for a POW MIA from Vietnam. And so when you get to that part in the service, I will mention that again. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And let us sing our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Please be seated. We have remarks now from our Legion Commander, Ashley Venberg Bouchette. And then later on in the program, we have VFW Commander's remarks also.
Thanks, Ron. Welcome. On behalf of the American Legion Post 225, I want to welcome you all to our Veterans Day program. Thank you for being here today. It truly means a lot to see our community come together, to pause for a moment and honor the men and women who have worn our nation's uniform. This year's theme is Service to Our Nation. For some of us, Veterans Day is personal. It's remembering the faces and names of those we served with, the sacrifices made, the pride that comes from being part of something bigger than just ourselves. Each story is unique, but all bound together by the same spirit of service and motivation. From the fields of Europe to the mountains in Afghanistan, from the skies above to the seas below, our veterans have defended our freedoms, often far from home, sacrificing comfort, family, and safety. With that, let us also recognize the families who have shared in that service, the spouses, children, parents, all the loved ones who have supported our veterans through deployments, trainings, and the unknowns. Your strength of the legacy we honor today. You've shown your own kind of courage and commitment. You've kept the home fires burning, offered strength, and stood beside your loved ones through every chapter of their service. Again, thank you for being here, for remembering, and for honoring those who gave so much.
We're going to go ahead and stand again. And Jerry will lead us in God Bless America. Uncover. Please uncover.
Let this be the prayer of our hearts for tonight. God bless America, land that we love. Stand beside her and guide her with your light that will shine from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean, whitewood foam. God bless America, our home, sweet home. God bless America, our home, sweet home.
You can take your seat again, and VFW Commander Bill Princeton has some remarks.
Good evening. My name is Nick Millette. I'm the Senior Vice Commander of the Forest Lake VFW Post 4210. Our commander could not make tonight's event, so I'm here to give some remarks on what Veterans Day means to me and a little bit about Veterans Day. As I said, my name is Nick Millette. I served in the Minnesota Army National Guard for 12 years out of Pine City, Minnesota, and today is Veterans Day, a day we celebrate those who served and are still serving, and also a day to serve and give back to veterans as well, in my opinion. I'd like to tell you a story and hopefully inspire you, if you're maybe not a Legion or VFW member, to maybe consider becoming a member, and if you know a younger service member, to maybe persuade them into joining the Legion or the VFW. Looking back on my service, one of the things after I got out that I realized I liked the most about it was taking care of my guys that were in my section and protecting them from their command, taking care of them, and helping them out. After I got out, I kind of bounced around for a little while, trying to decide what I wanted to do with myself. Other than work and raise my family, I felt the need to serve some way or another. I worked with a few other veterans organizations off and on, but nothing really clicked with me in them. It didn't quite feel right. I had heard about the VFW and the Legion both while I was going in the service, and I thought they were just places you go and hung out with a couple guys and drank a couple beers and told war stories and everything else, and I didn't know if it was the right fit for me. So I kind of dismissed it, even though I knew our former post commander and quartermaster and served with his son, and I thought, well, I don't know if it's for me. Well, over the years, I've called on both the Legion for different scout events to help out with Color Guard and Veterans Day services. And I've called on Roger Fredsall at our VFW a few times, and every time I've called either one of the organizations, they've both been there to help out, whether it be financially. Friends of mine lost their home to a fire, military family, and I asked the VFW, they had a check there the next day. I've got other friends and family that have had benefits and different events here at the Legion and both the VFW. So I got to start thinking a little bit, and I asked Roger at the VFW again for some help for another service member that was killed in a car accident. And once again, he told me, I'll help you, but you got to join the VFW. And one night, my wife and I were having a beer at the VFW. He said, when are you going to join the VFW? And I thought about it and contemplated. Finally, one day, I talked to Roger, called him up, and joined the VFW. I still didn't know what it quite meant to be a VFW member or be a member of the Legion or the VFW at that point. So I decided, since I'm a member, I might as well go to a meeting. So I went to a membership meeting, kind of liked what I saw that, maybe this is a spot for me to maybe help out. So I started going to membership meetings, just started showing up at the House committee meetings. They needed another House committee member, ended up getting on the House committee, and then we ended up needing a senior vice commander, So I decided to throw my name in the hat for Senior Vice Commander and did that. So there I am, and I joined the Honor Guard, and it just felt very rewarding, and it's very rewarding for me to be a part of the Honor Guard and to do that, and to be able to give back to veterans' families and that time, and then also now to be a part of Veterans Day and Memorial Day ceremonies, to give back to veterans. Today we went to went to the Waverly Gardens, and we did a ceremony for them. The Legion did the same at other senior facilities and schools, and giving back, or being able to see the faces of both the kids, the teachers, and the veterans at those facilities really hits home to me, and really is very moving and very meaningful to me. And I'm very proud to work with both organizations from time to time, and realize once I got involved with the organization, the thing that really drew me in is once I got past the stigma of what I thought the Legion and the VFW were, and realized what both organizations do for our community here in Forest Lake, both veterans and our schools and other community members, I was shocked. I had no idea. The amount of help, whether it be facility use, monetary, that both organizations give to our community and veterans is mind-blowing if you didn't know. I mean, it's mind-blowing what both groups do, and that really hit home with me. And what I would like to say in encouragement, hopefully, if you are a young service member like myself, a GWAT veteran, we're all in our 30s, 40s, maybe some of us are in our 50s. Everybody that's currently members of the VFW and Legion mostly, they're all in their 70s and 80s. They're not getting any younger. To keep these organizations going, both the Legion and the VFW, we need members that are GWAT era of my age group to start joining, getting involved, getting active, and giving back to the community so that these two organizations can continue to go on and keep giving back to veterans and giving back to our community. So I want to plead with you, if you're a younger veteran yourself, consider taking a look at the Legion or the VFW, and maybe at least show up in a meeting, see if it's something for you. If you've got a family member, you know, a niece, nephew, son-in-law, daughter that's maybe of that era, try to get them to come to a Legion or VFW meeting and see if it's something for them. That might be something that they're looking for. I know for me, it really was a turning point for me in my time of service to be able to give back and to continue to give back. So I just want to say thank you for those of you who have served and are serving, and thank you to those who are still serving at the Legion and VFW and giving back to our community and veterans. So thank you.
Thank you, Nick. One thing I want to clarify that a lot of people don't know, but and so, you know, both organizations are good organizations. There's one thing about the VFW is you have to have been in a war zone. If you have not been in a war zone, even though you're a veteran, that's one of the stipulations for VFW. So if you were in a war zone, you could be in either the Legion or the VFW. If you were not, like me, I had 30 years in, but I never was in a war zone, even though I was in Germany for 3 years and whatever. But so I'm not qualified to be in the VFW. So think about that when, but both good organizations. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do is talk a little bit about the Veterans Memorial, and Mark's going to come up here in a little bit, but I'm going to start off, and if I get my notes back up in order again. So we've had our Veterans Memorial has really taken a turn to the good and peaking here for a lot of respects, because we've got dirt moving over there in the Veterans Memorial. For those that don't know where it is, it's Broadway is right here. The end of Broadway before you get wet, before you get to the lake, right at Lakeside Memorial Park, that's where the Veterans Memorial is at. And it's a great spot. You can see it when you're coming down Broadway. You can see it when you're on Highway 61 doing the roundabouts. So anyway, it's been there for a long time. Our Forest Lake Area Veterans Memorial Committee is a community group which organized in 2008. We reinstalled an old bronze plaque that the Chamber of Commerce had made in 1977. It listed 24 veterans who had died while on duty. This plaque is on the north side of a large stone at the entrance to the gazebo. That's where it is today. And we put that back in 2008 or 2009. It was removed when the city park, Lakeside Memorial Park, when it was redone around, say, 2006 or whatever that year was. And when they redid it, they found that the rock that plaque was on was cracked, and so it sat without doing anything. So in in 2008, we went ahead and got that reinstalled. Then we established a Veterans Paver Program in which anyone may purchase at the city office, city center, a small paver, which is the small one on the end over there, which you see later. It's 4 inches by 8 inches, and that's $150. Or which is 4 times bigger. These here, which is 8 inches by 16 inches. That's $300. Granite paver. You can to honor U.S. veterans, either living or deceased, and whether they're from. They don't have to have ever lived here, but somebody for that's meaningful to you, and we can have it in our Veterans Memorial. So we have about 14 of these pavers, actually it's over 400 now, purchased, and then we install them twice a year we used to do it along the sidewalk in Lakeside Park there. Bob Detmer and I and a few others we'd go ahead and dig, and we'd put it at sidewalk level, get the grass out, put some in there. Well, we decided that let's bring those pavers and put a lot of different designing and figuring out what and then actually exactly where. So anyway, that paver purchasing system lives on, but the old and the new will be combined. The old new pavers will be combined in a new elevated Veterans Memorial, giving them the place of honor that they deserve. And Mark Finneman is a key architect who's on our committee to make those plans happen and design it, whatever. And we went through a bunch of different renditions of that. Mark is right there, and he's going to come up. Next to him, behind him there, is Gary Lee. Gary Lee is on the committee. I mentioned Bob Detmer already. Kelly Roberts is also on the committee. And then the parks person is Kyle Young. Kyle, do you happen to be here? I didn't see him yet, but he was going to try to make it. But anyway, Kyle Young is on the committee also. So I'm going to put this up while Mark goes ahead and takes the mat.
Well, for one, I'm so glad we finally got those pavers off the ground. We're not part of a walking surface any longer. We are now elevated, which is the kind of honor we should be bestowing on all these pavers and all these remembrances. So I would hesitate for a moment. I think a lot of you really have watched anyway the memorial as it went through its design phases and how it became the here today. It's not quite final yet. You're going to see the majority of the memorial out there. The only thing you probably central sculpture, the fine art sculpture that kind of pins down the middle of this memorial. At any rate, I'll use your imaginations then and kind of describe. Well, for those of you who haven't been experienced to it at all, let me just try and describe it in my terms, and we'll test your imagination and see what happens here. It's a circular form that we've established for the memorial, and the circular form is created by the various platforms that we have. There are two primary platforms that are raised about 2 feet off the ground, just short of that, and that presents now at least a very easily discernible kind of place where you can see and come and visit the various pavers that are there. On the outside of that, on the outside of that perimeter, the circular perimeter, we have 6 sentries. The idea behind the sentries is to represent each service, all the 6 services, and also to more of a symbolic statement. They're comprised of a blade that's encased in stone. It's a bronze blade, the appearing bronze blade encased in stone and leading inward toward the center of the circle. So there's 6 of those sentries that are leaning inward toward the center of the circle. What they essentially represent is the tip of the spear. It's kind of an old ancient statement about the first ones who are engaged in conflict and the first ones who lead into the battle. So the tip of the spear is what they're trying to represent, and they're all leaning inward. On each of those, there's a circular medallion that represents the various services that we're talking about here, all 6 of them. And so they're the sentries that surround the outside perimeter. Then we have the raised platforms. And inside those platforms, it's pretty straightforward. We've been collecting pavers for a very, very long time, and I guess we'll keep collecting them. They're getting bigger all the time. And so we got to see how many we can contain in there. At any rate, the central sculpture is probably the largest unknown proposition here. It's up, okay. Maybe about well over a year ago, we established a design, and this was our best representation of what that design was. So I'm going to try and just describe the story to you a little bit. There are 2 collapsing walls. They're collapsing inward toward each other. It's sort of how wars end. It collapses inward. That's how wars kind of finish the story. And those 2 walls are representative of the battles that are happening both on the home front and on the battles front. On the one panel, it's a soldier, a male soldier in combat gear, who is, as he starts out, as the wall inclines, he's standing vertical, so from the shins on up, he becomes more and more 3-dimensional, and by the time when you get to his helmet, he is a full 3-dimensional item standing there. He's emerging from that panel. He's emerging from that war-torn wall that's falling away. He's in full battle gear, and the background behind him will be a relief of various battle kinds of feelings. There's certainly the battle-scarred wall itself, and there'll be some other kind of relief stuff that shows warfare in the background. He is saluting, and he is saluting the flag that's on the outside perimeter again, that's straight in front of him of the round form that is the memorial. On the other wall, guarding his back, is the wife and family at home. Their wall is slightly less damaged, but it is still the same kind of representation. There's a female soldier holding a child, and they're looking up and backwards and up skyward mostly. And behind them, the relief on that wall is a floating abstract of the American flag. And so in both cases, we're talking about a lot of patriotism and trying to express that in sculptural form. Holding those 2 walls at bay from collapsing is a bronze eagle. That eagle is the American spirit from within. It's in between holding those walls at bay. So it's a pretty Herculean form that the eagle with bowed wings is holding back those 2 collapsing walls. So that's the spirit within. We have a family divided because of war. We have a family in a combat zone and a family on the home front, all suffering the consequences of war. And we have the whole idea about the American family kind of emerging from the chaos of war. Underneath the eagle, we have 2 tablets. One will describe the memorial so that, in a much more very patriotic kind of memorial to the service people. And that's essentially the story of this memorial. There's a lot of symbolism that goes with it, but I think it stands on a lot of education. I started there with the Sentries. Yes. Okay. That was what I intended to say. I hope it got across as a little bit more than just the visuals could catch up with.
I heard something over here about contributions, and yes, it's tax deductible, both for the pavers, or if we've gone out to organizations, and there's a lot of good organizations around, and I'd name some, but then I wouldn't name them all, and I'd forget some, so I better not say. I asked for a list of that, and I didn't get it. City has that in the list, and we will have that later. Okay, so let's get to the point of dedicating individual ones. So in your program, you can see that I've got a little tent mark, whatever you.
Forward to Hall C, Steve, maintenance to Hall C.
So you can see the little whatever symbol that is, like this, is those people, names on the paper for them, they are deceased. So the first one, Robert Anderson, is alive, and hopefully he's here, whatever. And then that next one down, Ronald Brenneman, has a little, looks like a pup tent. He's deceased. So that's the key to that. And so we're going to go ahead and talk about each one of those, and we'll have them up there on the other side here. As soon as I get my list here. Here we go. Okay, the first one is Robert Anderson, and he is alive. So Bob Anderson, are you present? Is anybody in the Bob Anderson family present? No? Okay, well, we'll go quickly through that one then. So he's a specialist. Specialist 5 was the highest rank that he got up to this point. And he was in Army Finance, and he was in from 1965, 1967 in Korea. And he was in the 7th Infantry Division. So that's Robert Anderson, and that's what his paper is. And Mark, and Gary, could you two guys help hold up the goods while I do the reading? I was going to have Kyle come and do that, but he isn't here. So that's the first one. Okay, the next one is Ronald Brenneman, and he is deceased. Is there anybody here from the Brenneman family? All right, so go ahead and stand and stay standing on his behalf, and thank you for purchasing it for him. He was a Specialist 4. He was in Army Transportation. He served from 1956 to 1958. Plus, he was 6 years in the Maryland Army National Guard. He was in the driver of a base commander in California, plus the Maryland Army National Guard. Okay, thank you. Okay, Ryburn Fox. He is passed away. Anybody from the Fox Rise family here? Go ahead. Way back over there. Okay. All right. So he was a staff sergeant in Air Force, 1950 to 53. He was in the Korean War. He did career guidance. He was up in Alaska. He was at the 804th Air Base Group, Hunter Air Force Base in Georgia. It's a large size. Every other one here is going to be large size, so I don't have to say large or small from now on. That is good. So we will have him in there. Next one is Clyde Folks, who his nickname is Buster, and he passed away just a few months ago. Jana, are you here, or Mrs. Folks? Nope, I don't. Nope, I don't see them. Anyway, Clyde was a private first class. He was a Marine. He was in the advanced infantry part of the Marines, 1952 to 1960. He was in the Korean War. He was a driver and one of his duties anyway, in Keyport, Washington was one of the places he was at. It's a large one, and he's like a deceased, as we said. Okay, the next one, pretty sure the family's here, and that's for Eugene Handrahan, and he is, if you'd stand up, he is the only one so far out of all of our 400 whatever that is a POW MIA and still not found either. So a sad bit of the history and whatever, and it's great that you are honoring him, and we're praying that you find out the details, and hopefully he's alive. But he was they kept he was in 1967 is when he started his service. He was in the Army infantry, and on 10/10, so October 10th of 1968 is when he went missing in action in Vietnam, and he hasn't been found since. He was with the Alpha Company, 2nd Battalion, 12th Infantry, 25th Infantry Division, Chu Chai Ben Hoi, Vietnam, and they've purchased a large one for him, and hope that we find out, and hopefully he comes back well. Okay, next one is the parole, and for Dale, and he's deceased. And come on, his wife, are you here? There you are. Stand up. Yes. Okay, so Dale was it's an AD2, but that is, he was an E5, Navy Aviation Machine Mate, 2nd class, 1971 to 77, Vietnam era, and he was on the USS Saratoga, and which number was CV-60, and his wife bought him a large, and yes, he deceased within the last year here. So thank you. Rabine. Okay. Rabine, which is Timothy Rabine, and alive. Are you here, Tim? All right, all right. Thank you for buying a favor. All right, Tim. He was with the. He was a Lance Corporal, a Marine heavy equipment operator. Were you here last night at the Marine Corps birthday party? All right. And yes, the birthday of the Marines is November 10th. So they have a very good birthday party, as Marines naturally would. And they had it right here in this room, as they do every year. It's at the Legion here. And so I was, they let some, Army people and others come too. But anyway, all right. So Tim was Lance Corporal, Marine Heavy Equipment Operator, 69 to 1975. He was in Vietnam in 1970. He was with 1st Force Logistics Command, Da Nang, Vietnam. But a ledge. Very good. Thank you, Tim. The next one is Patrick Silovich. And Pat was our commander, Legion commander, okay? And he just passed away a few months ago. And so we have, we've purchased a paver for him. And Cindy, are you here? Where are you? Stand up, Cindy, and any family members. Yes, family members too. Yep. It was a sad day when Pat, his health failed him and passed away. So he was an airman first class. He was an Air Force air traffic controller from 1973 up to 1979. One of the main places that he was at, working-wise, was K.I. Sawyer Air Force Base in Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Michigan, the UP. And they bought a large, and like I said, he's deceased. So, Silovich family, our condolences, and thank you. Gary Smith, he's deceased, and his brother Bob, I don't think you're here, Bob, are you? Bob is a member of ours. He's legally blind. He lives in St. Paul, and he bought this one for his brother Gary, who's passed away. So Gary was his highest rank he got to was major. He was Air Force engineer from 1960 to 1972. One of the things that he worked on as a engineer was over-the-horizon missile guidance. Big time thing going on then, and he did it partially in the military and partially afterwards, not in the military, but as a contractor or whatever. He was in New York, he was in Germany, and he was in Colorado. 3 different working places. So, thank you. And William Struzinski, are you alive? Are you? Oh, here he is. Here he is right in front of me. I'm alive. Good. Okay, Bill Struzinski. And Bill was his highest rank that he got to was sergeant. He was an Army medic, 1967 to 69, and he was in Vietnam. And he was in Alpha Company, 1st of the 26th Infantry Regiment, 1st Infantry Division. And their slogan is? Duty first. Yep, duty first. You want to make sure that was on there. A large, and yes, he's alive. So thank you, Bill, for purchasing one. The Will Harbor family is either Tom or Gerald here. There's 2 pages. Okay, so Tom, right? Okay, Tom. Well, okay, we'll do yours first. Even though G comes before T, we'll do yours first since you stood up first. All right. So Tom was a Chief Warrant Officer 5, was his highest rank, and that's as high as you can go as a warrant officer. He was Army in General Support Maintenance from 1963 to 2000, and yes, he retired then in 2000 after many years. He was stationed in Belgium. He did general support maintenance. He was in Minnesota Army National Guard, Aviation, and State Area Command, Stark, and the 47th Infantry Division Headquarters. He was a full-time guy, and I knew him when I was in the Minnesota Army Guard Aviation too. So thank you, Tom, for buying yours, and I think you also bought your brother's too. But so stand up for your brother too. That's Gerald. Gerald, oh, that one is Thomas's first. Oh, you're showing Gerald's first, I see. Well, only the people right here probably knew that. Okay. So Gerald was, his highest rank was a corporal. Are you related to this son, maybe? Son, very good. Well, Tom, you can sit down then, because somebody that's even, Okay, so son stay. Anyway, Gerald was a corporal, Army engineer radar, 1953 to 1959. He was in Alaska. He was up there working on the radar DEW line, D-E-W, the DEW line. We were definitely worried about Russia at that time, and there's many times since and before should be worried about that. It's a large, and Gordon is alive. He's got dementia, I believe, whatever, so he probably wasn't well enough to come tonight. So thank you for purchasing them. Now we got to the Teresa. Yes, Teresa Miller. Well, other than the last name, no relation to me as far as I know. Is her mother here? Go ahead and stand up. Yeah, I thought that's right, I had met you earlier. So you are here. So Teresa Miller, she was a Forest Lake High School graduate, I believe, correct? Of 96, okay. My son, Tim, you were 96 also, weren't you? Yes, okay, we'll get back to that. So Teresa was highest rank she got was staff sergeant. She was in Army Transportation. She was in the service from 1997 to 2005. She went to Operation Iraqi Freedom, so she was in Iraq. Teresa was a semi-driver. She was in the unit, was 353rd Transportation Company out of Buffalo, Minnesota. And she went to Kuwait, and she was in Iraq also. And it's a large size, and she's alive, but she couldn't make it tonight, I assume, right? Yeah, Washington, D.C. We won't say who she works with. For DEA. Thank you for. Okay, so the next one, what do we got here? All right, so now it's the Miller family that is my family, close. So this is Walter is my grandfather. He got to the highest rank of private. He was in World War I from 1917 to 1918 time frame. He was in Army Transportation. He was actually he was a motorcycle rider, driver, whatever, and truck driver was his job during World War I. Okay, the next one is my father, and that's his highest rank is sergeant. He was in World War II. So it's Leroy W. Miller, and he was in the infantry from March of 1943 until November of 45. He was in World War II, as I said, and he was in being the infantry. He was out front in Luzon and the Philippines and New Guinea. He survived, but he did get a Purple Heart, I think 2 Purple Hearts actually, but I'm glad that he survived because otherwise I wouldn't be here, and then Joanne would be just sad as can be, wouldn't you, dear? Okay, which one did you grab? Oh, me. Okay. So I think I can do that one without the notes. Highest rank I was as a full colonel, Ronald L. Miller, aviation. I put on the second line, I put Army. I was in the 3rd Infantry Division when I was in Germany. I was in the 101st Airborne at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. The 34th Infantry Division, which is the Minnesota Army National Guard. and the 88th Regional Readiness Command. So when I got off of 7 years active duty, I went into the Minnesota Guard for 18 years, and then when I made full colonel is when I went to the 88th Regional Readiness Command, which is Fort Snelling. It's the Army Reserves. So that was mine. Oh, I didn't say that I was an Army aviation pilot. Okay. So the next one, what do we have? Karen's or the? Karen, yep. So my daughter, our daughter, Karen and Joanna, my daughter, first she was, she went and enlisted as a medic in the Air National Guard, and then when she got her RN through Bethel, she ended up getting her commissioning, and so she was a second lieutenant and then a first lieutenant. And I put Karen Miller because Forest Lake people know Karen Miller, so I put that in there. And then her married name though is Fagnet, so that's why it's across here. It says Miller Fagnet, and she was in the Air Force, Minnesota Air National Guard, 133rd Air Wing in Minneapolis, St. Paul, from 1994 to 2001, a medic and then a nurse. So that's Karen. She lives in Anchorage with her husband, and so then Timothy, come on, stand up. Timothy is our son, and not but least, or however that goes. Yes, last but not least. Okay, Lieutenant Colonel. He was with the 34th Infantry Division for many, many years. He went to Iraq when they had the surge there from 06 to 07. He was in Iraq, you know, when Petraeus was there. And then he had a second deployment with 34th Infantry Division, 1st Brigade to Kuwait, and he was there from 2011 to 2012. And he started out his career in 1996, and he retired to Lieutenant Colonel then in 2021. When he started out, he was in Signal Corps, and then he switched, when he got his commissioning, he switched to military intelligence, so we put both of those up there. What's that? Yes. Yes. Yeah, switch the order around. I knew that. Thank you, Tim. Okay. That covers them. Unless I forgot one, just let me know. I think we got everybody. All right. So the other part that we put in here, a moment of silence before we have the rifle salute. Not only a moment of silence for the prisoners of war and especially the Handerhan family, but we do the rifle firing, and it'll be 3 volleys like usual. And so it'll be loud, but it'll be right outside the door there. We'll have the doors open, and then we'll do taps also. And then Dave Rovang will do the closing prayer. Dave is going to come in and do the closing prayer. He's the VFW chaplain.
We are multifunctional tonight, so we're doing a lot of different jobs. I would ask that you'd remove your hat like I'm doing, and for this final prayer. Lord, we give you thanks to those who answered the nation's call to serve and protect, and for those who even now guard the gates of freedom. Today, as we honor Veterans Day, we give thanks for the courage and commitment of all those who have served our country, and for the sacrifices they have made to protect our freedoms and ensure our safety. May they be honored and appreciated for their service and receive the care and support they need to heal from all the physical or emotional wounds they have sustained. Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts, which we are about to receive from thy bountiful goodness and graciousness. Amen.
First, I would like to say thank you to Matson's crew for coming out and serving our meal after the program. So we appreciate you doing this for us and our veterans. As we come to a close of today's program, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here, for taking time to honor our veterans and reflect on what service to our nation truly means. To all our veterans here today, thank you. Your service inspires us, your example guides us, and your love for our country reminds us of what it truly means to be an American. But Veterans Day does not end when this ceremony does. I encourage everyone to carry the theme, service to our nation, in your hearts. It's not just what veterans have done, it's what we can all do to continue to do for our communities, for our families, and for our country, and our daily lives. With gratitude in our hearts and service in our actions, may God bless our veterans and their families, friends, and the United States of America.
Thank you all. And the Handerhan family, I'd like you to go up in the lead the way, yes, for the food.